Dr. Senewiratne, just assume that I'm a singular leader. I have over 150,000 Army in my hand, 20,000 Navy and 10,000 Air Force. I have sophisticated weapons, tanks, and airplanes, everything. You are only around 10 to 15,000 cadres. Why should I sit and talk to you? Why can't I just wipe you out and solve the problem? Am I thinking wrong?
Yes, you are. Because that's a lack of knowledge of history. You know, the British in the 1920 had come to 300 years of conflict in Ireland. And after 300 years of one of the most powerful nations on earth at that time, they had to pack it in and tell the IRA, who were a fraction of their size and wealth and weaponry, I will give you 24 of the 32 provinces. That was the Irish settlement there. Okay, take another uprising in which I have had more than a small role to play, which was the Indonesian situation in East Timor. I told the Indonesian people, because I'm an associate visiting professor there, I said, East Timor will be free. This was some 15, 17 years ago. And they said, are you trying to tell me that these people with sticks and stones, these are the Fretlin guerrillas, are going to defeat the Indonesian army? I said, I am telling you right that. I said the same in Eritrea and Ethiopia. I told the people in Ethiopia whom I met, you may have the backing of America, you may have the backing of Russia, you may have the backing of both, but Eritrea will be free. You know, the point is that you can't fight a guerrilla movement on guerrilla soil using guerrilla tactics and match that with the conventional warfare, however powerful you are. The state will grind down to bankruptcy, which is happening right now, and which happened in Ethiopia, or the state will have to pull out and say, look, this is an unwinnable war, let us settle. But the guerrillas, in the last 100 years, I cannot think of one single guerrilla movement of the type that is going on there, the Tigers, that has actually succumbed to the state, whatever the differential power is.
So how do you compare the PLO, IRA, and LTT?
You know, I mean, I don't need to fly the flag for the LTT, but I mean, world over, they are renowned. They're some of the most disciplined people, because they have a cause to fight for. They've got a leadership that is absolute. They won't tolerate nonsense. I mean, you can call it a dictatorship. Fair, fine enough. What was Singapore under Lee Kuan Yew? If that was the dictatorship, and if Lee Kuan Yew allowed every possible dissenting voice to be heard, Singapore would have been still in the fishing village state that it was when we got our independence together.
South people thinking, I was talking earlier a little bit, there was a chance given to them by not participating in election by the Tamil people. So they have given a chance to the singular people to select a good leader and solve the problem. Why I'm asking, because there are some opinion shared by many people that singular people want the peace and they want to solve the problem. But there was a chance given in the last presidential election. In their view, the Rajapaksa is a hardliner compared to Ranil Wickremesinghe, and still they choose the hardliner. Then it doesn't match with the opinion some people have that singular people want to solve the problem. Where do we go there?
A couple of points there. Disconnected it may seem, but I don't think they are. Ranil Wickremesinghe's UNP has never ever been able to come down to the level of the ordinary Sinhalese and realize that what the singular person wants, more than opposing division or anything else, is food in his stomach. And I told Ms. Bandaranaike when Felix Das Bandaranaike raised the price of rice, I said, you will lose this election because the singular person is only worried about what goes into his stomach. Secondly, I don't think that the singular people know that there is a solution to this, which will in fact stop their misery. They'll stop the body bags coming down from the north and all the misery that is going on with poor administration, with the singular leaders blaming their poor governance on the Tamil Tigers. I mean, they've settled the problem. They'll have a problem on their hands because they'll have to administer proper governance to the south, which they are not capable of doing.
You were talking about leaders. So if you call an ideal leader ideal singular leader, what he's supposed to do in Sri Lanka, you think?
I was asked this question by the Washington Post about 4 days ago. It was asked in sort of semi-humor. He said, Dr. Senewiratne, if you were made in the unlikely event of being made president of Sri Lanka, what would you do? I said, highly unlikely event. Nonetheless, I said, I'll take up that question. Number one, I'll go on a massive publicity campaign in the South to tell the Sinhala people that this conflict can be settled without the Sinhala South being under threat. Number two, I will pull the army down out of the Tamil areas and assure the Sinhala people that no more body bags will be coming down, because the cause of the body bags, which is the army in Jaffna, will be out. Number three, I will confine the Buddhist monks to their temple, as happened after the assassination of Bandaranaike. I will actually answer that question properly. I don't have time to do it here because of the constraints of time. On the net, it will be a serious reply to what may have been a frivolous question: what happens if I'm made president? The reason for my response is to show that this is a settleable problem. And there are solutions to this, but not the warmongering that is going on to crush the Tamil tigers or to crush the Tamil people or whatever.
The current peace talk or the ethnic conflict is internationalized. That's what we see it. All big leaders of the world involved. European Union, that is the whole Europe, then US, Japan is there, and India is kind of watching. So if you talk about international involvement, you start from the neighbor. What India is doing now and what it's supposed to do now. What do you think?
What India is doing now baffles me. Here is a conflict that is sending thousands and thousands of people to Tamil Nadu as refugees, and they're creating a major problem there. Here is a conflict on the doorstep of India, and all that India needs to do is just two things. I don't know, I suppose people are aware that Jaffna, after the closure of the A9 highway, is facing starvation. At the end of this month, by the end of this month, 500,000 people, 150,000 of them children, are going to starve because there's no food. India has got to say, right, I'm going to do what we did in the late 1980s. Number one, move a battalion from the Southern Command to Chennai. It doesn't need to go much lower, there's more south than Chennai. We're going to move a battalion down to Chennai. And number two, I'm going to ask the Indian Air Force to drop 5 food parcels on Jaffna with a note saying to the starving Jaffna people, with love from the Indians. You do those two, the conflict, Mr. Rajapaksa will climb down under the table as Jayawardena did.
The Sri Lankan relationship with Pakistan now, and indirectly US, some say, that is it going to have some problem with India or in their relationship?
I hope that the relationship with Pakistan grows by the day, because it's one of the few things that will make India act. The pilots, I gather that 2 of the pilots who bombed Chenchole were Pakistanis, and I think India is having a very close look at this. The man, Rajapaksa, is such a fool that he can't see that getting into bed with Pakistan or with USA, inviting them to have naval exercises or whatever it is on India's doorstep, they will not tolerate. India won't. And India will be very concerned. I think the message has got across. That's why the 1,000 US soldiers who are going to do exercises in Gaul apparently have been stopped from going.